by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness,
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed, support causes that matter, change lives, change communities, change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Jackie Levezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay, let's go, Brandon.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, March 10th, 2020. We're here in Kingston, New York, snowy Kingston, New York. It looks like almost a scene from a Christmas holiday card out there.
Out our window. But it's going to be 50 degrees today, though.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We'll hold on for that. And they're talking maybe a potential of another storm Saturday. But before we get too deep into the show, I want to welcome Len Bernardo.
Well, thanks a lot.
Bernardo is joining us today, and
appreciate
we're looking forward to having some good discussions. We have a few guests lined up, and we're just looking for some good discussions. And Len, it's always interesting to hear your perspective on things, and I'm looking forward to everything you want to add to the show. And thank you for driving down from Sullivan County today.
No question. Quite frankly, I explained to Lawrence and you as well. It's really important to get a real good picture this year where we're going, and I feel we could add some value, and that's why I asked Lawrence to come back. And obviously, we get along well. And it's a matter of getting this thing together.
Maybe we get John Sebastian to play the Welcome Back theme. But anyway, before we
I'll go find that and look it up.
Okay, in keeping with the weather today and the season of it is, I have a little reflection. I just want to read to the folks out there a little original poem that I wrote a number of years ago, back in 2004. But I just want to share it with you. It's a short one, so stay with me. It's titled Winter Matinee. And I don't ever remember a winter season that seemed so long or so cold. The other day, the wind calmed down enough to allow for an afternoon stroll. While walking through my sleeping garden, a glimmer of light shot its way from the ground to the retina of my eye. Out from under an expired oak leaf and next to a shard of ice, a yellow crocus was blazing bright. It was so unexpected that for an instant it took my breath away. and that's a winter matinee. And Sunday afternoon, I saw a couple in my garden, a couple tulip little sprouts pushing through, and it was nice to see that Sunday afternoon. And now it feels like a little bit of a setback today. But spring is on the horizon, and we only have to push through, I guess, the last couple weeks of winter, and we'll be on our way.
Okay, Heidi's here.
Good morning, Heidi.
Oh, good morning.
Heidi, good morning.
She might have a problem hearing you because we're still waiting for the new box. That won't be here for another week or two.
Okay.
So can you hear us?
No, I hear you a lot better than last time. No, I hear a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Well, Heidi, Len Bernardo's with us this morning.
Well, it's good to see we've got the band back together.
Yeah, the band's back. Well, now you got to come in and we'll have the band back together.
Yeah. After my driving duties are over.
I understand.
Heidi's
Wait a minute, is this Len Bernardo?
Yes.
The Len Bernardo?
Yeah. The one and only, the original Len Bernardo.
All right.
Oh, Heidi, you're a character.
So, what's happening?
Well, Heidi, we're dealing with, I guess, a little bit of snow this morning. Actually, the snow was from yesterday, but it's still on the ground. I don't know if there's any school delays in Kingston.
Not at all.
I'm a very disappointed 10th grader because there's no delay.
I remember those days. Although I used to be disappointed if there was a delay. I was more looking for a closure back then.
Well, it's funny with all the COVID stuff, these kids have been home more than in school, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, getting geared up for the Shamrock Run?
Well, I'm in my case it'll be the Shamrock Walk, Heidi. I'll be walking with my brother and my brother Harry's the Grand Marshal, and hopefully listeners will be hearing from him in about an hour. He'll call in and visit with us a little bit and tell us about what's planned for Sunday at the Kingston's it's really actually Ulster County's St. Patrick's Parade. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get some good weather. I guess the forecast right now is for sunshine and wind. So I guess that's a typical March day.
Yeah, well, it was better than the last parade.
Yes. Although I think we had a good time, Heidi.
Yeah, we did.
Heidi and I made up the entire contingent of the Ulster County Legislature in the last parade that they had, which was back in 2019 now. So it's been, while 2020 the parade was canceled and we got to a point where we were almost going that day, we really haven't had a parade in Kingston now for 3 years.
Well, interesting enough, when Terry was chairwoman, she teamed up with Dave Donaldson. They had all legislators walking.
Yeah, well, it was day.
We had rain and snow the last.
Yeah, we had rain and snow, and it's just. But Heidi and I think we represent our legislature in a good way, and got to see a lot of folks, and again, hopefully we'll see many of our legislative leaders, our city leaders, our county leaders coming out for a day to visit with everybody along the parade route. So Heidi, I guess the headlines are a little bit encouraging somewhat this morning. I don't know. It turns out, I guess, in Turkey this morning or overnight, our time, the Ukraine foreign minister and the Russian foreign minister had a meeting. So far, nothing came out of it, but the fact that they met, I think, is maybe a hopeful sign. I want to just take any glimmer of hope out of this. But 2 weeks ago today was when we were on the air and we let the listeners know who were waking up, who didn't see the overnight news, about the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. And I want to ask Heidi, though, as a mother, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but apparently the Russians attacked or bombed a maternity hospital.
Yeah, that was awful.
In Mariupol. As a mother, how does that sit with you, Heidi? I just curious to listen to a woman's perspective on that.
You know, when we grew up, Brian and Len, I think you as well, we had those drills in school, you know, for the nuclear fallout. And, you know, you'd hide under your desk or face the wall in the hallway on your knees. And with this, I just feel like there is still the threat of this nuclear attack. It's bringing it back for me. And unfortunately, you know, I made the mistake yesterday when I was driving Lydia to school that I I disclosed my fear of this again, and she just didn't receive it very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very disheartening. It's discouraging. I really don't have anything positive to say about it. But as for the bombing of that hospital, it's just every morning I wake up with a sick feeling in my stomach.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We have Heidi and I have a dear friend that went there, Frank McKay, who was the leader of the Independence Party. And if you go to his Facebook page, Frank McKay, you can you see he's videotaping and he's taking pictures. He's there now? He's there as we speak.
Yeah, he's there now. Did you read his post this morning?
I did not.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But,
what capacity did he travel there?
He packed his bag. He packed his camera, packed his video recorder, and went. One-way ticket.
Is that right?
That's right. He really felt that he needed to be there and document it from a layman's perspective.
Wow, that's brave.
Yes, it is. Good guy.
God bless him, and Lord keep him safe.
Yep.
It's just,
yeah, I'm hoping that he'll be calling in on one of our days that we're here. I spoke to him yesterday via Facebook Messenger, and we're going to be communicating. I wanted to speak to Lawrence about that, see if we could arrange that, one of the Thursdays that we're here.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, get a different perspective.
God bless. The whole thing with when you think about. I can't imagine a woman being in a more, or any person being in a more vulnerable position than a woman in the process of giving birth. And
having children,
I just
babies.
Can't, yeah, and how you can just bomb a maternity hospital. It's a war crime.
I can't imagine families being ripped apart like they are.
Yeah.
We need to leave our house now, and I have to leave my husband and my son. It would be like Wayne and Bryce stay behind, and I would leave and go with Lydia. Absolutely gut-wrenching.
Oh, it's just terrible, and the question is, how does Putin back off from this? What's the exit for him?
Well, the exit's interesting. It's who's got, it's just an ego game now. This is a chess match of chess matches, and these guys are going to be playing with each other forever. But let's hope that we can get past this and don't worry about egos and just put it to bed.
Well, just hope so, and I just hope everybody's dealing with a sense of rationality. I mean, this what's at stake here is you could make an argument this is even a more dangerous situation than the Cuban Missile Crisis was.
Well, they compare it to it all day long.
Well, but the fact of the matter is, at that time there wasn't an active war going on. Right now, one of the sides of this is an active combatant.
You're precisely correct.
And that enhances the dangers of this, I believe. And it's just again, Heidi, I just
let me ask Lydia. She's standing right here. Lydia, how does this situation over in Ukraine make you feel? What's your feeling, if you had one word to describe it? Scared.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah. And Lydia, as a young lady going to school, this is something she really shouldn't have to be worried about.
On top of this pandemic, she's still wearing a mask.
Okay.
On top of the pandemic, and it's just a really.
It's been a lot piled onto the heads of these and the minds of these young children. It's just it's really a shame. I just don't have any other word for it. It's just terrible. So Heidi, anything new down in the Stone Ridge, High Falls area that you can report to us?
Let's see. Nothing new or noteworthy in this part of Ulster.
Okay.
Again, I do spend a good portion of my time in Orange County.
Right.
The Executive Newhouse, and Len can speak to this, was deployed on active duty for the Navy. Len? Is he there?
The county, the Orange County Executive, I guess, has been
He was deployed. Yeah, actually, Steve Newhouse. He left. He went. I guess it was today. Today's Friday.
Thursday.
Today's Thursday. Tuesday, he was the...
Every day is Friday for Len.
Every day's Friday. You got that right, kiddo.
Stop.
So he was deployed to Hawaii on Tuesday.
Beginning of the week.
He arrived in Hawaii, I guess Wednesday at some point, and then he got his orders that they were shipping him out to Europe.
Wow, that's a circuitous route to Europe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, you know, that's what the Navy does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, Steve, God bless him and keep him safe, you know. Again, he's obviously in the Navy, I presume?
Navy Reserves. Yeah, he was in Iraq. He was in Afghanistan.
Okay.
So he's been around.
So I guess he reported to Pearl Harbor. I guess that's where...
Yeah, that's exactly where that's how it worked out, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, Heidi, the price of gasoline is probably a very sore subject for you these days.
Oh, gee. Yeah, like last night, you know, I have that mileage gauge on my dash where it says, 80 miles until you need to fill up again.
Uh-huh.
So technically last night I really didn't need to fill up, and it was bad weather. I did leave work early, and, I start passing, Mobile is, well, I'm not going to say names of the gas stations actually, but one gas station was, 2 cents more than the next, and I had I tend to fill up at a gas station in Accord, and I said, I hope that's not 2 cents more than the last station I passed. But I filled up because I'm concerned overnight. I don't know if the price is going to be 10 cents more by the morning.
Well, that's just it. Just, and chances are it's going to be higher. And the way the rate of increases have been, a 10 cents increase would be a pretty modest one.
Yeah. And before I jump off, I just want to remind our listeners that it is petition season right now, and you can expect, if you are registered to a party and knock on a door for a candidate, we're out knocking doors throughout the county, to get signatures for candidates of parties. So it's not unusual, and again, bad timing with the price of fuel, but it's part of our democracy that we do this. So you can expect a call if you're you may be expecting a knock if you are registered to a party, and to obtain your signature to get that candidate on the ballot.
Thanks, Heidi, for bringing that up. I spent a little time over the weekend canvassing and collecting signatures this weekend, just getting out, hitting a few doors. It's like flexing an old muscle, Heidi. Although this time I'm not carrying any. My name doesn't happen to be on any of the petitions, so I guess that's a good thing.
That is true. Well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
Well, I know, but for now it's good. I'll say for now it's a very good thing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to jump off.
Heidi, drive safe.
Talk to you soon, Heidi.
Thanks, Heidi.
It's always great to chat with you, Heidi. Be well.
Yes. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Heidi's a legend. Let me tell you.
She's great.
We could talk about her now that she's hung up. But I'll just say this. When she and I served together in the legislature, Heidi was probably my best pal in the legislature. That's how I like to refer to Heidi. She was a friend, but she was a real pal. Someone, I could bounce ideas off and go back and forth and be a little bit of a sounding board. Sometimes I'd say, Heidi, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, or Z. She said, don't think about Z at all. Leave Z out of the equation, or something like that. She was just someone very good to...
She definitely has an old soul mentality of politics. And, it's when you said that, that's exactly how Heidi works. I mean, it's not about politics, it's about the issues, it's about the people she's serving, as well as, some of the, you is the same thing. So obviously, sometimes there are things you just want to blurt out, but you have to have crossover today. We need to get back to it. This partisan agenda politics, Brian, it's just not working out.
We have in New York State right now, and in Ulster County, and for that matter, in the city of Kingston, is one-party rule.
And that's difficult.
And that's just not healthy in any circumstance. It's not the way the system was designed to operate.
Not at all. And when you have that, but the unfortunate part is you have these great divides. And once you have these great divides, when it swings the other day, and in time it does swing. We have these midterms, that they're saying even showing Patrick Maloney in a plus 4 or 5D district. The RNCs come in and say if it's not more than a plus 5 or 6, it could be an all 1 or 2.
Right, and he's also the head of the national DNC, isn't he?
He is.
So which would be very interesting.
So you take a kid like Colin Schmidt, who's young, aggressive,
I met
hard
him
worker.
on Saturday.
A young, aggressive young man. He's going to have some impact, and again, it's a good thing. But at the same time, to have these great divides is something that we really shouldn't be in the middle of, especially now, more than ever with this war going on. We need people to come together. You have people saying federally, Pelosi saying that she will not. She wants to open up the fuel. Yeah, Biden who doesn't want to open up the fuel. It's like everybody's upside down. Here in New York State. Right, you have Seward Cousins doubling down on bail reform. You have Kathy Hochul saying we're going to rescind part of it. It's everything really right now is just miserable.
Well, it's difficult to say the least. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the only life we get here, folks.
No, that's it. This is not a dress rehearsal, huh?
No, it's not.
I get it.
And you know what? And at some point in time, we have to break through and get some better days happening around.
Well, Brian, you're right. I mean, we were just mentioning earlier the issue of affordable housing and things like that. We have to realize sometimes politicians are motivated to do things for the people who gave them money. And that's the problem. That's absolutely the problem. So whether they're harassing, Hinchy for doing something that they want, it's just an upside down world. But one party politics is not the way to be.
No, it's not healthy.
No.
Whether it was one way, where the pendulum swung one way or the
Correct.
other. This one party rule that we see locally. It's not healthy at all.
Well,
and you know what? It gives cover for shenanigans. It really does.
Sure, it does.
And and a lot of things are decided in the back room. Then they come out and just go on the floor and just roll out their agenda.
And that quintessential example, whether it be locally or on a state level, that's what's going on with Adams and Hochul in the legislature. It's the same issues over and over again. You were talking to me earlier about the new furniture at City Hall.
Yes.
Are potholes or
the
food?
thought about new furniture, but they had an extended chat last night about us getting new furniture for City Hall, while the city residents are doing literally a slalom route down every main corridor to avoid potholes and the mess. It's just I don't know. It just calls to mind deck chairs. I don't want to. It's not as bad as that, but it calls to mind the old deck chairs on the Titanic accident.
Yeah. We have to start waking up to it all. We do.
It was encouraging about government, though, getting together. I guess overnight last night, the House of Representatives voted nearly unanimously to block the importation of Russian oil into the U.S. And there were only 2 members of the House of Representatives that voted against it. And one happened to be that Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. And she had what I thought last night was an extraordinary quote. The quote was that this action would hurt the Russian people. Hello? That's exactly the point. And in doing so, would put pressure on Putin. By the way, Russian oil and the money that Putin gathers from that is the oxygen that's fueling the war in the Ukraine. It funds the whole operation.
Well, that's another whole issue unto itself. But, China, believe it or not, it's very interesting commentary what's going on in fuel right now. China likes to buy fuel cheap.
Yes, of course.
So what's happening now is Russia's getting squeezed. China is saying, hey, what's your best price you're going to give me so we can pick up some of the stuff that you're losing? So they're going to buy, a fuel at a good price, where the rest of the world right now is suffering badly.
Well, Premier Xi, I guess, of China. There's been speculation on that he's been watching this action in Ukraine very closely, because it's no secret to anyone that the Republic of China, the Chinese mainland, has had designs on Taiwan for many years.
Well, specifically the last several years, they've been doing a lot of flyovers. Yep, it's been ratcheting up.
They've increased their presence in the
That's right.
South China Sea.
See, that's correct.
They've expanded their Navy. And you know what? I'm certain he's watching how this is occurring in Ukraine very closely and at what price and what cost it will come to Putin, because he would be looking at a similar outcome, I think, in Taiwan.
Well, certainly the reaction from the U.S. would probably somewhat the same, and I think that's what we're talking about.
But could we afford that? And here's one of the reasons it would be very difficult. Taiwan is the leading exporter of semiconductors for cell phones. It's the computer chips that go in our cars, cell phones. Right. Basically, almost any consumer product, almost any military application product of electronics would be. And I think would be as close to a national security threat, as much as just the threat alone of taking over Taiwan, the perception of that, but the cutoff of semiconductors and really giving that market under the control of that commodity under the full control of the Chinese government would be extraordinarily.
You're making a really, really valid point, because right now a lot of the new cars are having problems getting these things, but it's not the chip. Believe it or not, it's the metal.
Right.
To make them. So what's wind up happening is that the metal's hard to get to a place like Taiwan, and that's an issue. Now you take the manufacturing and bring that to Taiwan, where it's being done. You're having double whammy here, because you can't get the metals to make them, even if you wanted to move them out. And some of these, companies in America who would want to build them here, how do you get the metal to build them? So we are really, the old story of having a global market is very true. Right. We're in the middle of it.
We are, and actually we're seeing maybe some of the downside of overly global. Well, they call it globalization.
Right, correct. Globalization.
And there's been some speculation. Could this be a sign that maybe the end of globalization, or the beginning of the end? Will the United States look to tack away from that?
We were talking earlier about the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
Yep.
Now, believe it or not, at that particular time, Russia came in and took all didn't take it away. Cuba offered it up for their protection that Russia was going to give them. So they gave up all manufacturing. That back then, once they did that, they became so vulnerable. It became what they call the skinny days of Cuba after the Cuban Missile Crisis, because they couldn't make anything because they gave it away. So that buildup to manufacturing in the United States is really, really paramount. How quickly it could happen, who knows? But there's going to be that moment in time that's going to be called the skinny part of the United States of America, and we could be entering it.
No, let's hope not.
Right.
It's just. Again, although a lot of these decisions were conscious decisions, made incrementally.
Yeah.
For maybe thinking of short-term gains, maybe not just the long-term big.
Well, it's the profit, you see.
Oh, the next quarter.
That's correct. The next quarter.
Chasing the next quarter.
And again, what does that boil down to? That boils down to, when you look at a mutual fund or any different kind of investment vehicle, what do board members want? Profit. What do they want? A high purchase price, or for their stock or bond or whatever they're applying for. So this is a very deep-reaching issue, many of these issues. But we have to make, as Americans, to make that real hard decision of where we want it to go. And that you do with what? A vote. Right? So it always comes back to, it's in our hands. It is. As much as we don't want to believe it, I believe it is.
Len, you're a businessman.
I was.
Are you retired? I guess from your earlier statement that every day is a Friday or Saturday.
Every day is a Friday. I own Data Communique. It was a financial printing company. And this is this crazy thing to understand, but I normalized the net asset value of a mutual fund back in 1988. 100 years ago. And
some of us.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's way behind me.
It seems like yesterday to me.
Well, I know. I just can't believe what age I am. But the long and the short of that comment I just made was, we created this product and we grew this financial printing company from, $0 in sales to $65 million in sales in 4.5 years. So we had tremendous amount of growth, and it was a very successful product. Went from 3 people to 6 people to 65 people, and then 365 when I sold it to Havas Advertising in 1998. 97, 98. Then I had a couple of contracts. Then I opened up the roller rink.
Right, yeah.
Right, as you know.
Skate Time.
Skate Time.
Skate Time 209,
which
right?
I did 15 years there, and we had a great time. We sold it two, 3 years back, and then COVID hit. So that poor guy is, struggling terribly.
I have to ask you, though, how do you pivot from, the data printing company to a completely different field as of operating a roller rink?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Brian, because you said to me earlier how you love to watch Terry ice skate.
Right.
Well, many years ago in her youth, she skated competitive roller and ice.
Okay.
In the Northeast region, which was, she lived in Maryland. So it was the Northeast region, and she went as far as nationals in roller skating, and she went as far as regionals in ice skating, which was many years ago. So when I finally sold my company and I finished my first 5-year contract with Havas, I was only working 2 days a week. So she says, wouldn't it be grand for us to open up a roller skating rink? And that's how that came to pass.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was fun, too.
It was. Listen.
It's a lot of work, I'm sure. But,
it was.
But I'm sure.
And that's why, quite frankly, I'm getting older, and it was the cleaning, it's the maintenance. It's not the sessions. It's not the people.
Right.
That's not the work. That's the fun.
Right.
But it's keeping the place up and maintaining it and cleaning constantly. It takes time, effort, and energy. That I really was tired. Physically. I'm in good shape, but nonetheless, you don't realize how much work it is. On a snowy day, you'd be out of my snowplow.
Right.
On a sunny day and the grass was growing, I was mowing the grass.
Big piece of property. There's decent size.
7 acres. It sits on 4.5 acres, with parking lot and surrounding lawn. But it was great business. Listen, I have kids today, grown-ups today that have children today that constantly write us and keep in touch with us.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is. That's the fun part. It is.
That is the reward.
Yeah, that is.
Well, it's 7:28. Before we go to the bottom of the hour, there's an announcement I want to read for all our listeners. I don't know if you know about this, Len, but Kingston Community Radio and the Elks Lodge, the 550, they're right on Hurley Avenue here in Kingston. On Tuesday, March 29th, during the regular hours of our program here from 7 to 9, the Elks Lodge at 143 Hurley Avenue is going to be hosting a breakfast for us. And in addition to that, they're going to be doing a live remote of the Tuesday radio show.
Very cool.
With Cameron at Rylance and Nina Postapak.
Very
They're going to be broadcasting from 143 Hurley Avenue during this breakfast. And again, the breakfast is $10. There's eggs, pancakes, bacon, sausage, coffee, juice, everything you expect at a breakfast.
I may need to do that.
And I'm making a plan to be there at least for the first hour.
There you go.
And I need to get into work. But then Kingston Community Radio will be broadcasting live that morning with Cameron Rylance and Nina Postapak doing their, it says here, normal show, but they have an extraordinary show.
And it's also their 5th Tuesday of the month, so it's not going to be any of their regular guests. They have all kinds of different guests coming in. And not to interrupt you, Brian, but Cameron, who the Tuesday host, who was here a couple of days ago, he also makes homemade maple syrup.
Nice.
He's actually probably over the burner right now making it because he leaves to go to Italy on Saturday to go skiing for a week.
Yeah.
So I hope everything is...
Oh, no, it's going to be, actually, he's going to go away. He's going to do a lot of collecting.
Yeah.
It's going to get really
warm. He
warm.
says so far it hasn't been good because of the temperature flux.
Correct.
I'm not a maple syrup connoisseur, though I love, eating... I like.
Well, maple syrup. I have a friend of mine that does it, and you want the warmth during the
you want warm days, and you want freezing nights.
That gets the
flow of the sap, right?
Flows,
yes,
right?
that's exactly correct.
And then they go out. A lot of the friend who I know who did it, he had an ATV, and he would go around with buckets. And
that's what Cam does. Yeah.
And
he taps them into the tree.
Other people do the lines, and
right. That's real sophisticated. That way.
Well, it's really funny. But the early sap, let's call it this time, you get for every 40 gallons of sap you collect, you get one gallon of maple syrup.
They boil it down, they call that.
But as time goes on, it gets closer to the spring, it gets waterier. So you may have to collect 50 gallons of sap.
Oh, okay. So right now it's thicker.
So right now the sap is richer in sugar.
Yeah, I still don't understand how they get it darker, like how the sap, because sometimes you'll get a lighter maple syrup than you will.
I think it has to do with the amount of time that they...
Well, it's got to get to 165 degrees.
I'll make sure that Cam goes over the process.
Yeah, you definitely have to.
The other thing that we're also going to be doing, and I got to make sure I confirm this next week with Jid Tinty, is that this whole thing started from, is that Greg Chorvis goes away for a month and he goes to Florida, and we were I was like, listen, we got to start doing live remotes, and Jid's like, oh, you should start, do it at my farm, because they bring in, Jid also makes syrup too, and they have like a really, really sophisticated system on that.
They have the
oh, you know what? Hang on a second. I think we got Central Hudson calling
But not
in.
to be the old
So
Rodney
hang on one
Dangerfield.
second,
I looked up my
guys.
family tree,
Right.
found that I was a sap.
Very good.
But anyway, join us at the Elks Lodge on the 29th of March from 7 to 9 a.m. for this breakfast. It's $10. You'll have a great time, and you'll get to watch in action the extraordinary broadcast that Cameron and Nina
Listen, we rambled
send
on
out to
too
us every
long,
morning.
and we rambled on past the break. We got Joe Jenkins on the line already, so I'm going to let you just go ahead and interview Joe right now, and then when we come to 8 o'clock for birthdays and stuff, we'll just take a longer break then, okay, guys?
That
Got
works.
it.
That'll work.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got to keep up with our break.
Good morning, Joe.
Everyone needs a break. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Joe Jenkins from Central Hudson is joining us on the air. Again, Joe, my name is Brian Waltman, and I'm joined today by Len Bernardo as a co-host. And I want to thank you very much for coming in today, or calling in today, I should say. Joe, so many of our listeners are really concerned about the spike they're seeing in their Central Hudson bills. It's really becoming a problem of affordability and just unexpected, drastic, and high expenses for people. I understand that the state legislature is beginning to examine this. What is Central Hudson's position on this as we sit here today on Thursday morning?
Sure, it's a good question. Thank you for asking it. First things first, when the state legislature or any other governing body, if our regulators look into it, we will obviously fully cooperate. This most recent spike in energy prices is really due to the cost of energy supply. So there are three portions to every customer's Central Hudson bill. There is the supply rates, there are the delivery rates, and there are the taxes. Taxes are taxes. Delivery rates are the portion of your bill that Central Hudson negotiates with the state every few years, and that's money that we charge to essentially deliver that electricity to you. So it keeps up the electric and natural gas infrastructure. So that's kind of the poles, the wires, the pipes, and all that. The supply rate is what we pay for electric and natural gas. So it's essentially a charge that is a pass-through for Central Hudson. It is money that we collect on behalf of the third-party companies that either generate the electricity or supply the natural gas. And what we've seen recently is that the cost to produce electricity and the cost of natural gas, due to a number of factors, both regionally and globally, has really caused a spike in price. Now, it was something
Right.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Joe, yeah, just to that point about the energy supply, I just want to, for our listeners, I want them to understand exactly what Central Hudson is what their business is. Does Central Hudson produce any energy anymore? I know they used to have dams here in Ulster County, and we produce some energy locally. Does Central Hudson, are they still in the business of producing any energy?
We still do own the 3 dams in Ulster County, we produce a very small amount of hydroelectric power, but that electricity that is produced from those plants gets fed into the grid at no charge. So we make no money on any of the electricity produced from those 3 small hydroelectric plants. But other than that, New York State is deregulated. We have no more vested interest in any company that produces electricity or supplies natural gas. So as a company, we are a transmission and distribution company. We supply the power, we supply the natural gas, but we don't actually produce any of it.
So it's fair to say that the primary business of Central Hudson right now is a transmission and delivery business. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the energy that Central Hudson acquires that ultimately gets, whether it be electric or gasoline, natural gas, they're acquired, I presume, on an open market somewhere?
It's a bit of both. For New York State, we purchase our electricity from the New York State Independent System Operator, as all other utilities do. So they are basically for lack of a better phrase, to oversimplify it, they are essentially the stock market for electricity in New York State. So they oversee and manage the statewide electric grid, and they also manage the power producers. So they're the ones that essentially help to set that rate for electricity. That's the simple way of explaining it. And then for natural gas, we purchase natural gas through a mercantile exchange like Ymca, and so that's sort of how the system works for us. But essentially, those end prices that we pay are, it's on our bill, and we understand how that concerns customers with the spike in price. But the prices we pay for electricity and natural gas are the prices that we charge our customers for electricity.
Now, these rates, whatever you're paying for, particularly I'm interested in the mercantile exchange for natural gas. Are these acquisitions or these rates or contracts, are they set like well in advance of the delivery of the product? Are they set up are they monthly contracts, or yearly contracts, or bi-yearly, or even weekly contracts? Are these acquisitions, or is it something that's happening on a continuing basis?
It's a bit of both. It's a hybrid. So we do at the beginning of every year and at the beginning of every winter, we kind of do it twice. We will sort of forecast based on historic trends and what weather modeling forecasts are suggesting, and we purchase natural gas in advance for what we believe the natural gas send out will be. So especially for the winter months, we take a long, hard look at this before we get into the winter months, before the temperatures turn cold, and we take a look at what natural gas usage is right now, what the weather looks like, and we come together with a forecast for how much we're going to buy. Now, and we did that for this year. So in theory, we had purchased 100% of the natural gas that we wanted for January based on our forecast. And now what ultimately happened was that January we didn't have a lot of record cold in January, but the cold was very sustained. It remained cold throughout much of the month, and what ultimately happened was the month ended up being about 12% colder than we had anticipated. So even though we had purchased enough gas for our forecast, we still had to go to a spot market and purchase some natural gas to sort of bridge that delta between what we had forecasted sending out and what we actually had to use due to demand.
I see. Now, a lot of Central Hudson consumers are reading they're getting multiple explanations as to why their bill is getting higher, all of which we've talked about already, the fluctuation of the markets, whether they be for electric or natural gas. But they're also reading and hearing about a billing glitch situation with Central Hudson. Apparently, I guess, last summer, Central Hudson transitioned into a new billing system, and there's been to say the least, there's been some difficulties on Central Hudson's end with that, as it's been reported in the news media. If the average user who's going to work and living their lives every day and opens their envelope or opens their email and gets his huge bill, to that increase that they're seeing, how much is attributable to what we've talked about earlier, the market forces, as opposed to the billing glitch or the billing switch that Central Hudson has, I guess, with their software change or anything like that? If we could maybe do it because we're on the radio and so we're trying to make it as easy for our audience to understand, what's the ratio? What would be the percentage ratio? How much is attributable to marketplace fluctuations, and how much would be attributable to the difficulty in transitioning to a new billing system? What would be the percentage of that?
Tough to put a percentage to it, but I can sort of explain what's happening. Ultimately, the number of customers who are having their actual bills impacted by this transition to our new billing system is relatively small. Now, what's happening with those customers is they are either not being billed in a timely manner, or they are receiving inaccurate bills. I guess you could put a percentage to it. Generally speaking, the customers that are impacted by that is somewhere between 5 and 7% of our customer base. Now those are the ones that are not getting billed in a timely fashion or are getting inaccurate bills due to complexities on their billing, like if they subscribe to a community solar program, or if they have rooftop solar, or if their municipality subscribes to a CCA. Now, to be fair, all of these problems are not associated with those companies that they have subscribed to. The problem rests with our billing system, so it is on us. But it's a relatively small number of customers who are experiencing that. The vast majority of our customers who are seeing the spikes on their bills, this is a result of the increase in supply prices.
All right, well, just so our people in the audience know, we're chatting right now with Joe Jenkins from Central Hudson. Obviously, Central Hudson's been in the news quite a bit lately, whether it be with some of the related power outages that we had due to some storms, and also with the uncertainty of what we have in the energy market. Joe, if a Central, I'm curious to know. I myself, and I'll speak personally, I'm a budget subscriber to Central Hudson. I pay the flat rate over the year, I guess, and usually at the end of the year, we settle up, usually one way or the other. Either I'll have come in ahead and my bill will be reduced at the end of the billing year, or I have to make up the difference at the end of the billing year. For someone like myself, who I've been tracking my bills, I've noticed that I seem to be within the, how should I say, the parameter, the tolerance levels with my bill. I seem to be kind of where I would expect to be, and I have not seen a spike. I pay my regular amount every month. Why can people who are paying via the budget method, can they expect to see some kind of serious increase or deficit in their payments at the end of their billing cycle year?
It's certainly possible. I'm a budget billing customer as well. I think it's a great program that lets you kind of, 11 out of the 12 months of the year, you know what you're going to pay. Now, in my particular instance, to use it, my true-up month is next month. So I am expecting to have a little bit of a larger bill next month than my regular monthly number, and it's just because, in my house, I'm an electric and natural gas customer, so my winter bills tend to be higher than my spring and fall, and even my summer bills. So, because of the time frame where my true-up month falls, I don't have enough time to sort of make up for this, abnormally cold winter coupled with the spike in supply prices. So I expect to have a little bit of an increase on my bill. And I would imagine, given the increase, folks who are on that budget bill should anticipate maybe a small increase on that true-up month, but it's going to vary from customer to customer depending on when that reconciliation month is and just their overall usage over the course of the year.
Okay, and very importantly for our the Central Hudson customers, I guess, if they encounter a bill that's like unexpectedly high. I've heard horror stories out there that people who normally expect to pay somewhere around $100 are getting $700 bills. A lot of them are anecdotal, admittedly, but I've heard enough of them to believe there's got to be some truth to that. What options do they have available? Does Central Hudson make payment options available to them to pay that over time rather than just have a immediate hit like that, financial hit like that? Are there options for them to pay over time, or are they obligated to pay that full amount immediately?
100%. We are offering as many options as we can to our customers. The first thing that we would recommend that customers do is to, if you receive a bill and you're just not sure about it, is to reach out to us. Have us take a look at that bill. It could be that you have an erroneous estimate in there somewhere. So we want to take a look and make sure that the usage on your bill is correct and that we're billing you correctly. And if that is the case, and there has been a substantial increase on a bill, we are offering all of our customers no-cost payment plans. So we can you can stretch out that balance over a longer period of time to keep your account in good standing and pay it off in smaller bites, because we know that this increase was significant, and a lot of folks are still recovering, whether it be from the pandemic or any other number of reasons. So we want to make sure that we're accommodating them. And then, of course, we also have a number of assistance programs. Federally funded programs like HEAP also qualify you not only for a grant through the government to help you pay down those bills, but it also qualifies you for a discount on your Central Hudson bill. And then for folks who have exhausted all of those other resources, Central Hudson has a Good Neighbor Fund program, which also issues grants to help folks pay their bills.
Hey, Joe, Len Bernardo here. Just a quick question. It's funny, as you know, social media is one of the crazy places where people talk about things, and there's this new app called Neighbor, and people talk about it, and it's really funny because some of the complaints, or some of the issues, I should say, perhaps, is the customer service side. And it's funny that, and I guess that my question is to you, how much time are you training your customer service people? Because many of the answers I think people are getting are very different. And I don't know if they're just ill-prepared or more time should be spent with them to really verify what the answer should be on your side to the consumer. That's what I've been hearing a lot of. We call and I wait 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, and I get nothing but, I'm not saying this to be mean at all, excuses. And, my answer to that is, well, what have you done next? Or what is, have you spoke to more than one customer service person? So I want you to read on what you're doing on the customer service side with the people on the phones, and how are you assisting them?
Yeah, it's a great point, and I've seen and heard similar complaints, and I can say that our customer service reps, the team that we have here at Central Hudson, has been great, and we've got a lot of very experienced people who are handling a number of issues. Number one, from fielding customer service questions, but also learning this new system and training on it, and also testing this new system and helping our IT department to try and work out the bugs so that it works properly for them. Because of the new billing system, we experienced such an influx of calls, and couple that with the additional time it took to resolve some of the calls, we had to bring in a third-party answering service to just basically answer the phone so that folks could have someone to talk to. And ultimately, our goal is to have them, in a lot of cases, if it's not a very simple function for them to perform, is to just listen to the customer's complaint, have them be heard, take down the information, and then pass it along to an internal Central Hudson person who has a better familiarity with the system, can better identify and better come to a resolution for that problem, and have that internal customer service rep reach out to the customer. So I think what a lot of times is happening is, between the internal folks who are doing an incredible job, just learning this system and working with our customers the best way they know how, and working with our third-party vendor who's answering the phone. Sometimes I think there's just a little bit of inconsistency in some of the answers that our customers are getting. But and we recognize that, and we know that we need to do better, and then that's on us, and we owe it to our customers to do better on that. So
well, thank you. Thank you for your very candid answer, because I think that's what people are sensing, by the way.
Yeah. Joe, if I may, we're chatting here, ladies and gentlemen. We're chatting this morning with Joe Jenkins from Central Hudson. I'm Brian Waltman, and joined the studio here by Len Bernardo. Joe, question as it relates to outages, if I could. Yesterday in the city of Kingston, we have had approximately, 7,000 people who were affected by a power outage in the city. Do you know, has that restoration been completed here in Kingston?
I know that all of the circuits that were impacted by that outage are back online.
Do we know what caused that yesterday?
I've been told, I don't have super specific information, but I was told that it was an equipment failure on a piece of equipment that was on a power line right near the Hurley Avenue substation.
I see.
And so it was, given where it was something that impacted 4 different circuits, and so we had to go out and investigate and make repairs. So, but I do believe the vast majority of customers who were impacted by that are back online.
Okay,
yeah, it was way up past Bewarsing, up by the reservoir. A lot of folks were out for a couple of days, actually.
Oh, this is after the...
This was yesterday, day before. Yeah, what happened was it went out prior to the storm, and then continued to stay out with the storm out.
By Sholem area up there?
What is it, up over Ulster Heights?
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Also, Joe, while I have you, I want to get your reaction to this statement. Yesterday, a local state official was on this station yesterday, and he described Central Hudson as primarily a delivery service, which we sort of confirmed that earlier today, transmission and delivery service. He characterized, though, that when there's an outage, that's a system failure. And I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not quoting verbatim, but the emphasis of what he was saying was that when there's an outage or a disruption in service, that it's a failure of Central Hudson's when that occurs, because it's the primary mission of Central Hudson now is transmission and delivery. What would be your reaction to that statement? Yes, that was made here on this station yesterday morning.
Well, I always stand by our line crews and our repair folks who get out there and make those repairs. You know, we are seeing severe weather, I think, more frequently than we have in the past. And Central Hudson invests 100% of its net income into reinforcing and building resiliency on our electric grid and in our natural gas system. So, you know, improving reliability is our number one priority. We are always looking to do better, and that is evidenced by our, you know, enhanced tree trimming programs and the new technologies we're putting into the electric system to not only reduce the frequency of outages but reduce the duration of them. So, you know, we're committed to improving the reliability and resiliency of our system, and it shows by, you know, just how much money we commit to putting back into that system every single year.
Okay, well, thank you for that. But I guess some of the thought is that Central Hudson, so our audience is clear, so it's clear for our audience, Central Hudson is a for-profit company, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so so everybody understands James says they put these resources back to the system, but there is a profit margin that and I guess it's a publicly traded company or a piece of, I guess, or the parent company is Fortis, as I understand.
Yes, that's correct. We're a subsidiary of Fortis Group.
Okay, so that I think that's clear. It needs to be clearly understood by our listeners, though, that while Central Hudson does a lot of great in the community and they work in the community, they put a lot back into the system, they are still a for-profit agency, which is fine. I'm a capitalist, so I happen to be in favor of for-profit entities, but I just don't want I want our audience to have a firm understanding of that as we're chatting here.
You know, that's a very valid point you make. It's interesting because that's why I asked the question about customer service and quality of customer service. That's where major companies like this one, like Fortis, like Central Hudson, could really make most impact. Because what's happening now is that's, in my crazy little opinion, no one likes to get a higher electric bill. I get it. At the same time, how you deal with the constituency and your clients is what's paramount. You can't leave them hanging, because what happens is they make the phone call, they get the bad information, and then what happens? They come away with a really sour taste in their mouth, which gives Central Hudson a really bad name. That said, I think where some of the failures are not so much in call the line guys. They're all great. The equipment side that has to be taken care of. The profit margin all comes from, in my opinion, customer service, keeping people happy. And I think that's what really, I hate to say this, but you really got to take a stronger look at.
Yeah,
because
I mean, not to be on Central Hudson's side here. I mean, when we had that ice storm, I think everybody suffered a huge power outage.
Right.
My power was only out for 4 hours.
I get it.
Okay. Now, a guy that lived 3 blocks away from me, his power was out for 3 days. And
Right.
Then I started to understand the whole grid thing. I didn't understand that. But a nice Central Hudson operator explained. She took 5 minutes out of her day and explained the whole system to me. Sir, you happen to live on a different grid than your buddy down the street.
Right.
Now, I didn't know any of that until a month ago. Now I understand all that. But yeah, I think, like Brian said, he doesn't see a spike in his bill. We happen to see a spike here at the radio station a little bit. But I'm glad, Joe, you did a wonderful job answering questions.
Thank you, Joe.
And thank you so much for coming on. And I passed the message along to John Masurgeon as well. You did a great job. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You have a great day.
Yeah,
Joe,
you too.
Thank you very much.
Joe.
Appreciate it.
I tell you, he did a good job answering questions.
Well, there you go.
I thought you guys were being a little rough on him at first, but
well, try not to be.
That's what people want to hear. Listen, we got to ask. We had to ask him questions because that's what our listeners have been calling up all week asking questions. So.
There's no question that it's funny. So here's a poor guy, right, who calls up because his bill is high, and the person on the other side of that phone doesn't have the ability to explain it in a way that it's acceptable to that specific person.
Or even understandable.
Correct. So, in opinion, right, you have this situation where it's a terrible situation where you're making a transition of a billing system that has some quirks, let's call them that, and then you have this increase in power, or how would you describe it as power? There's no other better way to describe it. That they're getting, they have to pass along, and everything's come to just this big one customer service nightmare, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, that's where it reaches. That's the point. Where
That's right.
Where, as my father said, rubber meets the road.
Road,
He wasn't the only
sure.
one who said it, but that was one of his go-to expressions. But I thought we got some good information.
No, a gentleman, and I have to say that I really do believe they're going to try to make good. And as soon, I hate to say this, guys, if you're having trouble getting through or getting the answer you need to get help in taking your bill and having it amortized over a period of time, or certainly making sure that you're being billed the right way. And if you're not getting those answers, I hate to say this, but it's almost you have to keep calling back until you get the right person.
And I know there's a lot of people in our audience, I presume, have access to the internet.
Correct.
And you can, and you have to be an active. I think it's at the point now where it's almost you're obligated to be an active consumer now. You have to download your bills,
right,
and each month, because a lot of people, everything's handled online now. You just see the bottom, you're paying that bottom line price. But you need to dig into your bills, examine your rates of usage, see. Again, in my way, my budget reconciliation month is July, so I'm about a little more than halfway through, and I have the history going back. There was one question I didn't get to ask him. I forgot totally about asking him. If I ever get a chance to ask Joe again, I will. But
they're coming back on. You guys have 2 shows in a row because you remember you're switching with Don Williams because of the thing, because you have to go to Rockland or whatever. So you guys are on the 31st and the 7th.
Yeah,
they're coming back on the 7th.
Okay, look forward to it
at 7:30.
All right,
so go easy on them next time.
No, well,
I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. But listen, we need to go to commercial now because we gotta get. Harry's about to call in.
All right, let's.
And then let's do that, and then we can go to Harry.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
A powerful community bank is one that has leaders that are involved in their community. At Rondout Savings Bank, they invest in the success of our community by working side by side with local people and local businesses. When you choose to bank Rondout, you are part of a bank that is dedicated to the future of your success and the success of your community. Rondout Savings welcomes you to open an account today and discover what it means to be part of a powerful community bank, one that knows you by name. Rondout Savings Bank, always working for you and our community, with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park, also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, March the 10th, 2020. It's a little bit snowy out there, but spring is around the corner. And when we get to our guests, we'll realize that spring is really almost here in the city of Kingston. But before we go too far, we just, at 8 o'clock each morning here on Kingston Community Radio, we have a little birthday celebration. Not necessarily. I always say little birthday. It's not. It's a grand extravaganza, and we have today a birthday wish for Kim Zeidler from your friends at the Town of Ulster Senior Club, and. Kim, we're going to enter you into the drawing, and Kim is the only entry today that we have for the drawing for the Boyce Brothers' famous Milkhouse cow pie. And so, Kim, happy birthday. You are the winner of the cow pie for March the 10th, and courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milkhouse and Kingston Community Radio. And Kim, you please be sure to stop at the Boyce Dairy Milkhouse at 62 O'Neill Street here in Kingston, New York, to select your delicious cow pie. I would go with the chocolate and whipped cream myself, but they have a variety of flavors. And Kim, happy birthday, and happy birthday to everyone who's celebrating today. Yes, and to everybody who's celebrating a birthday today, March the 10th. We want to wish you the very happiest of birthdays. And
hey, Brian, did you see our cowbell?
I saw that. It's very appropriate, Len.
It is.
Very appropriate because
that bell has been here 17 years.
Well, yeah, 2010. This one here right here.
All right, so 12 years. Sorry.
That's right.
Long enough.
The other one then. There's
Yeah,
three
there is-
bells
yeah,
down there.
yeah, I just put
The one with the
that
rubber
up.
band that's the older one. That thing doesn't.
An old bell.
There you go.
No, someone brought that in from. I think that's from a Shamrock Sunday.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
right
yeah.
on it. Yeah. That's the point.
All right, so go ahead and introduce.
In keeping
our
with
guest.
that, I'm happy to welcome someone I know very well, and I think Len Bernardo knows, is my brother, Harry Waltman. Harry, good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing today?
We're doing great.
How are you doing, bud?
Harry is the Grand Marshal, and Kingston, finally, we're getting back to it this year. Sunday in Kingston at 1 o'clock, we're having our Ulster County AOH St. Patrick's Day Parade, celebrating it here in Kingston. And I'm delighted to say that my brother, Harry, a little special meeting for me this year, is the Grand Marshal of our parade. He's ending he's the longest serving Grand Marshal.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was scheduled to be the Grand Marshal in 2020, and he's finally getting to step off on Broadway this week.
So that's what these X's are on the cover of the magazine.
That's right.
So Harry, you're 3 years in this gig.
Yeah, and as I told him on Grand Marshal night, if for some God forbidden reason this parade doesn't happen this year, I'm stepping away. Clearly, I'm the jinx.
Well, maybe, Harry, but congratulations on that. And tell our audience, what is it like to be a Grand Marshal of a parade so far? You haven't had the experience yet of marching on Broadway, but up to this point, what's it been like for you?
It's been a wonderful experience. I actually feel like I've done it all before except walk down Broadway. And, we have a tremendous committee. We meet once a week. As you mentioned, the journal book has been distributed this week to all various businesses throughout the area. And it's a tremendous book. I think it's a 120-page book this year. The support from the business community and individual families paying tributes to past members of the AOH and Ladies AOH are in there. And it's a really, and that's what funds the parade. Pays for the insurance and the permits, and some of the bands we have to compensate them to come in and play at our parade, help them cover their expenses. So it's been wonderful, and quite honestly, the last 2 years, it's still been like an ongoing topic of conversation when I see people. Hey, are you still going to be a Grand Marshal? And I said, well, that's yet to be determined by the AOH, but they were fabulous, and they're actually honoring all 4 honorees from 2 years ago.
Oh, that's great, Harry.
You know, it's really funny. I'm looking at a picture here on page 110, in loving memory of Thomas Waltman, 1998 Irish Mayor of the Day, and Bridget Wallman. The picture, great picture of your parents. This should be a very proud moment for you, Brian.
Taking the
Yeah.
their anniversary part.
That
anniversary
is fabulous.
Party they were having. Yeah,
It's a family tradition.
Well, actually, Brian's the one that dug up that picture, and we've been doing an ad in the journal every year since my parents passed. And Brian, every year Brian and I talk about it, and Brian dug up that picture, and he says, this is the picture we want to put in.
Yeah.
So, and it is a classic.
Well, I hope I didn't embarrass either one of you two guys,
No,
but
not
it
at all. We're
was
just-
just absolutely stunning and beautiful.
it's a happy memory.
Yeah.
But Harry, it brings up a point with me with this this journal. Obviously, the support and level of support from local businesses and people in the community is tremendous. The ads that are in this journal, they really go a long way towards helping defray the cost of putting on the parade. Is that right?
Oh, 100%, yes, absolutely. And so let me just go backwards for a minute. So we have a committee that meets every week, and it ranges from 10 to 15 people every week, but we have a core group, and they're led by Bill Carney and John Kelly. They're the 2 parade directors this year, and they're pretty much the ones that lead the meeting. And it's been an ongoing effort to pull it all together with the hopes that COVID would start to subside and we could actually pull it off this year. And we're a go. Everything's full speed ahead at this point. We're very much looking forward to it. We're hoping the weather looks a little cooler than we were hoping, but we were hoping for a beautiful day. We could have a crowd like no other because people are dying to get out again.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of pent up enthusiasm for this parade in Kingston.
It's really interesting. With Terry did a commencement speech at the college when she was the chairwoman. Mm-hmm. But the funniest story is her dad. Her dad, when she walked in this parade, she was more proud of her walking the Irish Day Parade. Of course, they're wonderful people. So it's funny, so that her claim to fame with her mom and dad and her walking with the legislators in that parade.
Terry was the chairman of the legislature.
At the time, yes, that's correct.
If you don't mind my asking, does Terry does she have an Irish heritage?
She does. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Terry is Irish. She's an Irish lady through and through.
Oh, wonderful. Bernardo, I've always known.
Well, it's Blosser. It's interesting.
Okay.
And it's when I met her grandfather, I was not allowed to say that I was a Catholic.
I see.
And at the time he was, he's going back 20 plus years, so he was.
The difficulties.
24 years. But the point is that that's going back a long time ago. But yeah, it was interesting. But her grandfather passed at 99 years old, and but the Irish family for sure.
Harry, while I have you, do you want to talk about any of your co-honorees this year? I mean, you're the Grand Marshal, you're leading the pack, but there are other honorees for the AOH has put forth this year. Is that right?
Absolutely, and I want to talk about them for a short period if I can, and I want to touch base on the Journal a little more.
Okay.
So the Irish Mayor of the Day is Pat Shiskey. Pat Shiskey went through all the hoops with me a couple of years ago. She's a wonderful, wonderful, humble woman. She loved the honor, but she was very humbled by it. She wasn't big on public speaking. When we went to the radio, she wanted me to kind of carry the torch. She has since passed, and she's not here this year. We miss her dearly because she was at every meeting and worked very hard. She was a big volunteer for Catholic Charities. And so this year, she still is the honoree, and her daughter and her family. She's the Kelly's sister, John Kelly, and all the Kelly family, Tom Kelly. So the whole family is going to honor her, and it's my understanding, I think, they're going to have some poster board with a big picture of her that they're going to carry down Broadway. And that's the one thing that kind of breaks my heart. I would have loved to have celebrated it with her. But you know what? She's in a better place now, I guess we have to believe. The Irish Princess of the Day is Erin Cregan, and she's a local girl whose family has since relocated to North Carolina, I believe. But again, she deserves the honor, and her and her family are coming back up for the parade and take part in the ceremonies. And then the bearer of St. Patrick for the day is a Samuel Vasquez, and he is Tom Kelly's grandson. And again, he was the bearer, was scheduled to be the bearer 2 years ago, and he'll be the bearer this year.
That's great.
So we're looking forward to it.
And he's quite a young man. He's quite a speaker. At the Grand Marshal's night that we had, he got up and extemporaneously gave a really wonderful talk of what it meant to him to be the bearer of St. Patrick. It was really inspiring to listen to, and gives hope for the future that there's such great young people around.
I think going back, this is the kind of stuff coming out of this pandemic, with all the stuff that's going on in this crazy world of ours. It's so important to come out of this positively and do great things like this. I mean, I want to thank you for your job that you do protecting the community every day as well.
Well, he's retired now.
Well, it's not the point. It's still in his blood, and he still cares.
Oh, indeed. Oh, no question about it.
But these are the kind of things we can't forget, the years that, he put himself...
If I may, 2 years ago was my retirement day. And the initial plan when I was named Grand Marshal, which I'm obviously very honored, and I want to elaborate on that slightly. I chose that to be my very last day with the police department. And with permission of the police department, I was going to walk down Broadway in my dress uniform and wave goodbye to everyone.
Well, you should do it anyway.
The pandemic had something else in mind, so this year I'll be walking down Broadway in a dress suit, a long dress coat, and a top hat. But
not jeans and sneakers, Harry?
Somehow I think Mom would be very upset.
You got that right. So, Harry, you wanted to talk a little bit more about this journal. When you've leafed through, it's just amazing how many businesses really are get on board with this and really support this event in our community.
Yeah, and there's a couple highlights I just want to mention in the journal. So number one would be the passing of Tom Kelly over the past year. Tom Keegan. My bad. Sorry, Tom Kelly. Tom Keegan. And Keegan Ales has always been a huge supporter of the Shamrock Run. They helped host a party down at the Rondout Neighborhood Center at the end of the run. So this year, the post-parade party is going to be at Keegan Ales. And we're going to have a band playing there. We're going to have the AOH bagpipers there. They obviously will have Keegan Ales flowing, and they're going to have food. And the Shamrock Run is in honor of Tom Keegan. He's the honoree for the run this year. Secondly, after all the expenses for the run are paid, any profits remaining are being donated to the Ryan House up in Saugerties, which is a great group. They do the narcotics awareness, and they run meetings up there, and they just support the community as far as helping people that are fighting and battling issues with narcotics and alcohol. So we're supporting them again this year, which we did 2 years ago. They did get money from the race, although the race never took place. And then obviously there's some of the other sponsors in there. We have to remember Bill Yosh. Bill Yosh was a long time AOH member, and he did the Irish show on the other station every Sunday morning, and he was past Grand Marshal, and he had passed away in the last year. And then there's several businesses in there that you can't overlook. Kingston Plaza is where we set up and organized the parade. They're so supportive of us, them and the Herzogs, the Jordan family. You have, oh Lord, I'm trying to think now. You have the Guido group. You have Sal Guido down at Mariners, and Butchie Guido, Frank, as he's known, on Thomas Street, and the restaurant uptown, North Front Street Tavern. And again, they're going to be hosting us when we get to the bottom of the parade. Mariners is going to have us in and welcome us to the end of the parade route. And then after that, we do go up to Keegan's. Keegan's is where the after party is, like I said. But you have all these businesses, and there's many, many more. I can't name them all. I probably shouldn't even have started naming any. But those are some of the ones in particular that really go out of their way for us.
Right, and since we can't name them all, that's why we encourage everybody, and these are distributed all over the city of Kingston right now, encourage people to pick up a copy of the journal and go through it, and where you can, support these businesses that are really helping to support a community event. It's just a great thing to do, and it's just, again, the gratitude we have to, I feel for all these organizations and people are just tremendous. And
we don't realize the pressure a lot of these businesses have been under.
No question about it.
So for them to come out and support it this strongly is speaking volumes.
Right. Particularly a lot of the businesses that are in the hospitality business.
Correct.
All that they've had to go through the last couple of years.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, this is amazing task you put on, and you should be very more than proud of it. You're bringing Kingston out of the ashes right now after COVID. No, it's not a joke.
No, we're picking. No, it's just a joyful thing. We're picking right.
You are.
It's like a renewal of with spring and everything.
Yep.
That being said, Brian went with me last Thursday, and we went down to Mariners to see Sal, and he wanted to get me the check for the program. And he was talking about just how much he looks forward to that day every year, because obviously it's a big business day for him, but it also kind of kicks off his season. His season, for the most part, is a spring to late fall season.
And we're talking about Mariners Harbor in
Mariners
Kingston.
Harbor, correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
no question.
And like you said, many of these businesses have struggled over the last 2 years. They really want to get things jump-started again.
Indeed.
No, you know,
celebrate everything that goes. It's all positive.
People want to get together again.
No question about it.
They do.
No question about it. Harry, of course, all of this stems back, I think, our love of St. Patrick's and everything to our parents.
Absolutely.
Our mother was from County Donegal, Ireland, and Dad, of course, was from Staten Island. And the running gag in our family, that's the times it seemed that Dad was more Irish than Mom. Because just the way, the love he had for the Irish culture. But again, St. Patrick's Day, Harry, I don't know if you recall this, but when we were kids, how often Mom would keep us home from school on St. Patrick's Day because she felt it should be a holiday. And we would sit there and watch the St. Patrick's Day
days that have gone by, huh?
I know. We would sit.
Great stuff.
The happy memories. And the funny story, we went to Catholic school, and the one principal who was a sister, she was not really thrilled about that kind of absence because Mom put it right on the excuse note why we were out.
Right.
And the pastor at the time, Monsignor Brennan, Irish name right there, he just says, "I agree with Mrs. Waltman. It should be a holiday."
That's right. There you go.
So
no, if you spoke to Terry's dad, he would agree with you.
We didn't face any consequences for that, but it was always a good day. And Harry goes back to Ireland quite frequently. I haven't been in a few years, but would like to get back soon and to visit our family over there. But talk a little bit about that, Harry, about all your trips that you take over to Ireland.
Well, yeah. So in 97, I brought my wife and 2 sons over, along with Mom and Dad, for the first time. And right from day one, Denise had never been over there, my wife, and she absolutely embraced it. And I often think how fortunate I am if I took her for the first time and she didn't like it. How many trips would I be making over? Right. And just to give you an idea of how strong that is in her right now, we rent a house from a neighbor, which is directly across the road from where Mom grew up. My aunt and uncle have that house now. And it's a beautiful location, and we take her a cup of tea in the morning and walk across the road and go over and visit the relatives in the morning, and that's how we start our day most times. And last year when we went over, Denise found out that the woman who we rent the house from, the neighbor, is now renting it on Airbnb. And Denise was like panicked. She's like, "You got to talk to her about next summer. You got to get us on the books before we lose out on this house." So I couldn't always get together with her, and now we're getting towards the last few days of our vacation, and she's like, "Did you talk to her yet?" And I'm like, "No, but I'm going to." And long story short, we do have the house booked for this July.
Oh, that's good.
So I took that pressure off myself.
Hey, Harry, I have to ask you a question. Do you feel that the flight, I don't know if I don't think they exist any longer, but the flights from Seward to Ireland, were they one of the reasons you got into it? I'm just curious about that.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Well, Harry, Len was asking about the flights that were out of Stewart. Harry was going over there.
They were fabulous.
Yeah, before that, but that became very convenient for him.
Right. Yeah, that was my question. Because right now Iceland is involved with their airline, so I'm just wondering if that's.
Layover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? And I'm my fingers are crossed. We've used that flight, the Norwegian flight, 2 or 3 times. I'm trying to remember now. And they were the sad victim of the Boeing 787.
That's correct.
And the first time we landed over in Ireland, after the whole thing, you could see on the tarmac in Dublin, 5 of the planes parked way off to the side, just like a parking lot, just sitting there.
Wow.
And I got to give that company a lot of credit. They fulfilled, well, for us anyway, I don't know if they ever cancel on others, they fulfilled every one of our reservations with rental planes from Spain.
Wow.
So they had a big rental plane, and that's what they flew us in. And we were literally on the plane flying back when we happened to hear a couple of the stewards talking that this was going to be their last flight, that they were pulling out of Stewart.
Yeah.
And again, it just became, I guess, all that money is probably like a car payment. You buy a plane, you're making huge payments on them. And
yeah, you bought a London.
They're sitting there doing nothing. You know?
A lot of capital tied up there.
Well, it's funny. Boeing really still is trying to work their way out of that one in some way, shape, or form.
Well, Harry, again, I'm sorry.
No, I'm really, just on that topic, we're very, very hopeful that someone, and maybe even Aer Lingus, would see that was a profitable or productive, very busy, because the planes were always full.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping somebody else will maybe pick up that route at some point, because it was beautiful. They used to have a shuttle service from the Port Authority that would bring people from Manhattan up to Newburgh.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did. But by the way, that was my father's dream. When we were children, we went to Ireland every 3 years. We would go over there for the summer, and so often, Dad, we'd be driving to the airport, and he would, as we were heading to JFK to go for our trip to Ireland, we'd pass where Stewart is by the Newburgh exit, and he would say, "Someday we're going to fly from here. It's going to happen."
Well, hey, it's an international airport, obviously, since Carter.
It has the capability as a use.
It has. It's an Air Force base, or was an Air Force base. But the long and the short of it is that it just, and once people start using it as they were, they get into that routine. I mean, truth be told, Terry and I went, I'm not trying to be a big shot, but Terry and I went for a kind of a longish weekend, just because we could.
Right. It was
and it was handy. It was somewhat affordable, and we were able to get B&Bs booked or whatever. It really was just a impromptu, quick, beautiful experience.
And Harry, again, congratulations on being our Grand Marshal this year. It's just, and I'll be happy to see that you finally get to come up to the end of the line at Broadway, and it'll be symbolic. Even though you retired a couple of years ago, it'll still be symbolic to you, and a nice triumphant moment, and a capstone to a very, very dedicated career in public service. He's my brother. I'm speaking.
Hey, listen, I said it earlier.
It's self-serving, but
not self-serving at all.
I am known as Harry's brother, and let me tell you, if I ever made a mistake in my campaigns, I should have put on the board, "Vote for Harry's brother." T-shirts made up, and if I ever choose to run again, that is a mistake I will not repeat.
Remember, we learn, Brian. We learn.
We have to apply those lessons.
Vote for Harry's brother. I like that.
Yeah, that's
good.
gonna.
All that being said, there's two quick things. There's quite the irony. My last official work day with the police department was March 13th of 2020.
Wow.
The parade this year is March 13th of 2022.
Wow.
So it's exactly 2 years to the day from my last day working there. And then the second thing, real quick, is again to my mother and father, Brian. You chime in too. There was the three biggest days in our house growing up. Once the Kingston parade took off, and we were probably 9, 10, 11 years old at that point. I don't remember when the first parade was in Kingston. But that being said, the three biggest days that Mom and Dad looked forward to throughout the year was Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the Kingston St. Patrick's Day parade. And it's going to be a little bit of an emotional day at first.
As it should be.
Carrying them with us. But it'll be a great day.
It's going to be.
Oh, you carry them in your heart, that's for sure.
And it'll be. We're looking forward to good weather.
Yep.
In spite of any forecast, we're going to have great weather, and we're going to have a great time. And Harry, I want to congratulate you on being Grand Marshal. Thank you so much for calling in today. I really appreciate it. It's helped make the show. Just look forward to catching up with you again soon. I think I'll see you before the parade, but I'll definitely see you on that Sunday. And
Harry,
everybody come out and say hi to Harry on Sunday.
Hey, Harry, on behalf of Terry and I just want to say enjoy every second and cherish every second.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time on the radio. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, have a good day, Harry. Take care.
There you go, the Grand Marshal.
Yeah, actually, looking at the weather for Sunday, it's looking great. Not a cloud in the sky, 36 degrees.
Breezy.
A little breezy,
okay.
but plenty of sun.
No, as long as you have the sun, I don't care how.
A couple green beers in the sun,
you'll
feel like it's 50.
Rumor has it that the Irish have found a way to keep warm. I think we're not necessarily talking about hot tea either.
Right, exactly.
No. The warmth of the Irish will be.
He sounds fabulous.
He's a great guy.
He really is.
He really is.
He really is.
What a tremendous officer he was for the city of
Yes,
Kingston.
he was.
And school resource officer.
Yep.
Worked in there. Again, I feel very strongly that they need to have they've been nothing but a positive presence in our schools.
In essence, that would be a great show, by the way. Mm-hmm. His perspective of that, specifically. Maybe we could work him back. It's up to you, really. But
maybe over the summer months when he's not in the school. Because he's even though he's retired from the police, Harry's been a go-getter all. I'm not talking out of school, and he's gone off the air, so I'm not talking behind his back because he's probably listening. But we mentioned before how we would go to Ireland for the summers.
Right.
We would have a great time, work on the farm with my uncles and aunts and do everything on the farm. But Harry had to go a step further. There was at least 2 summers over there. He got a summer job at a local store down in the village. Be behind the counter ringing people out and working.
Is that right?
Just always is driven. He's driven that way.
That's
and even in his retirement, he's still doing. He's picking up side gigs and side
hustles all the time.
And God bless him.
God bless him. Is right.
Even though I'm the older brother, a lot of people think he's the older brother.
Is that right?
Yeah, and but that's fine with me. But he's a great guy. And
that's funny.
Vote for Harry's brother.
And all the honorees in this year's parade. We're looking forward to it.
All right, so I got Nadine on the other line, so let's go to break real quick for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back with her.
That's great. Exciting, great.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from. All that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
Because the colors and quality of paint you choose matters, Herzog's Paint and Design Center, located in the Kingston Plaza, is there for you, offering the largest selection of Benjamin Moore paints and the area's most complete line of painting supplies. Herzog's Paint and Design Center also provides color samples from Benjamin Moore paints, including the eco-friendly Aura line. Color decorating consultants and expert interior designers are there for you, ready to assist you in choosing the right colors. Visit Herzog's in the Kingston Plaza.
Okay, let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, March the 10th. In spite of what we see, the winter wonderland we have outside, spring is just around the corner, which we just talked about with my brother Harry with the Kingston St. Patrick's Parade. But now we're joined with a person, speaking of spring, a person who has, while she's on the sidelines now because she just has knee surgery, I believe, but I'm talking with a person who has a real spring in her step, and that's Nadine Fesco-Ferraro from Upstate Original. Good morning, Nadine.
Good morning, Brian. There's no spring in my step today.
I'm sure. Nadine, unfortunately, we were hoping to join us in the studio, but she's recovering from surgery. Is everything going well in that regard? Let's just get a quick update for that.
So I had a total knee replacement. My left knee was a complete mess. You know, I played sports as a kid, as you know.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, all kinds of stuff, and I don't really slow down a lot, moving. So I had some arthritis, and I had a total knee replacement, and I think it was probably the worst thing I've ever experienced.
That's not good.
But you know what? I'm on the mend, and I have to say, you know, I probably down the road I'm going to have the other one done, and I decided yesterday, because it was a good day, that I will do it eventually.
Okay.
Sometime soon. Yep.
Yeah, I will tell you that my mom
I'm
is
doing good. I'm on the mend, and I'm doing good, and I can't wait to get back in action.
Yeah, Mom got her knees replaced at the same time. She was 63 years old. They replaced both of them at the same time, which was a hassle, but this is what she said. She says, listen, it's better I got them done, because I would never want to go back and go through this again. But no, good luck with it, and go for it.
Listen, I don't know how people do both of them at the same time. I've heard that, and I guess, you know, you get it over with, and you're ready to roll, and I know a lot of people that have done it that way. I just can't even imagine it.
A friend of mine did that, and I just can't imagine, Nadine.
No, but just
I'm glad it hasn't impacted your spirit, though, because that's coming through loud and clear on the radio. Your joyful spirit. By the way, we're sitting here. I'm Brian Waltman, and we have Len Bernardo in here in the studio with us today, Nadine. And
hi, Len. How are you?
I'm great, Harry. Oh, I know how you are.
But
I've been listening, and I just, before we get into Upstate Original, I just have to give a huge shout out to Harry Waltman. Harry, and Brian, you and I have, we worked together way back when at Caldors.
That's right. Yep.
Harry and I have been friends for a really, really long time. I'm super excited for him this year. He is, no better human. He's helped. I've seen it personally. I've watched with my own eyes him help so many people over the years and kids, and always went above and beyond to make sure that the right thing was going to go down. So kudos to you, Harry. Miss you, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, hopefully, maybe will you get a chance to be out at all Sunday, or?
I'm really going to try to, crowds freak me out because I don't want to fall right now.
Right.
I don't want to have any setbacks, but
no.
I may end up at a pub somewhere.
Okay. Well,
hanging around and sitting somewhere. But, talking about Harry, it also reminded me I have to call Denise to get the Irish soda bread recipe once again. I feel like I write it down and then I lose it the following year. So,
I think I can get you that too. I think I have an inside way to get that to Nadine.
You got a scoop. All right. Good.
Hey, Nadine,
go ahead.
Tell us all about Upstate Original. This is a new venture that you have going?
So we had our car service, Brian.
Yep.
That got, completely shut down when the pandemic hit. Nobody was going anywhere, to airports, and nobody going away. Nobody, everything was closed, so nobody could have nights on the town or anything like that, which is what we used to do. And it shut down. So, I did have my job, at Pestmaster. I worked for Paul and Amy Alley, worked for them, and I needed to do something else because it was driving me insane that everybody had so many different opinions about things that were happening, which everyone is entitled to. And I just couldn't fathom what happened to it's okay for everybody to have their own opinions,
Right.
I think that what happened was growing up, and as you're an OG, right? I mean, born and raised here. I've never lived anywhere else.
Me neither.
I just always knew that we always looked out for one another, from our neighborhood to our school to somebody else's neighborhood you were hanging out in. I mean, it was, our parents with business people. It was just always that way. And I think because, and as time is going on now, we never discussed a lot of those things. You never talked about religion. You never talked about politics. You never really in your home so much.
No, we didn't have time for that.
No, and for good reason.
We were having fun.
Well, it wasn't that. It was kind of like we just, we did just go along with things. And at some point, whether they were good or bad, we were going along with them. Okay.
Right.
So now a lot of things are brought to light. We're having these conversations. Not everybody's agreeing, and that's totally cool. I mean, we should respect one another's opinion. You don't have to be friends at the end of the day when you walk out of the room together, but you have to be respectful to one another. And when that was not happening, I couldn't sit by any longer. I felt like everybody, including people that were moving into our area, needed to know who we really are. Yeah. And I feel like our message, I came up with that. It took me a really long time to put it into the right words because I wanted it to be inclusive. And when we came up with our message, I felt it needed to be really put out there at that time. And so many people embraced it from so many walks of life and from so many different sides of the aisle. And I'm happy to say it's still growing. So that's really where it came from. That I really just hope we all really just start to be respectful to one another.
Oh, that's wonderful, Nadine. So, and keeping with that, you have a clothing line, I guess? So
the brand message, as you know, is, that we all do for each other. It's whatever you do for,
Mm-hmm.
Can I read the message?
Please, yes.
Is that okay? Okay, so the message starts out, Jim says it's lengthy, and I say, well, that's who I am. I don't just, I'm not a one-liner. So anyway, it's for all we do, for you, for me, for humanity and unity. We are a vibe, and we are a unique tribe. We are sisters, we are brothers. We are committed to doing what's right for each other and for our community. We love where we come from and where we have landed. We are Upstate Original. And remember, whether you were born and raised here, landed here, or decided to plant some roots, or just passing through, if you believe in and you live by this message, you're an Upstate Original too.
There you go.
The point is, the point is, I love where I live. I try to embrace everybody that lives here. I think that, the majority of people I know strive to make our community better every single day, and it needed to be put out there. And my daughter, was like, that's a great message, Mom, and I see you keep putting it on social media, but, you got to put it out there somehow. And she was right. So we put it on shirts and sweatshirts when we started out. And then and the focus of it was to support local businesses as well, because we were in a pandemic. I use local printers. I have wooden signs made. I use a local sign maker and woodworker, Stu Goodrich. I'm doing, we do hats. We do doggy bandanas. It kind of like...
Doggy bandanas?
Sure.
We have, we do doggy bandanas. And actually, I have to talk to Dale over at Dirt Cheese. She is the creator of my doggy bandanas, and we'll be getting more into them. But I work with Jennifer Davis, who tie-dyes a lot of my stuff. I work with different people. We do these pop-ups. So let me just explain a little about, we don't have a storefront. We don't have a brick and mortar. We have jobs. We have bills to pay. So this is a weekend thing, and what we decided to do was a pop-up here and there. Well, everybody started to invite us to their businesses or their neighborhoods and asked us to pop up there. And we did. And what that does, and why we aren't selling online, and we aren't going to probably have a storefront, at some point we may, but it gives the opportunity for me to talk to people about this message, about the importance of it, about where it came from. And I'm meeting people from all over the place, and they're buying something, but they're taking my message and they're walking away and telling it to other people.
That's terrific. Nadine, so it's just a lot more than just a clothing line. It certainly is then.
It's a movement. It's a movement.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
I love it.
It's a movement. And I a lot of times, and people will tell you, I'm sure, this is not going to make us millionaires. That's not what this is all about. I give away probably as much stuff.
That's funny.
I purchased a whole bunch of shirts from People's Place. They had a whole bunch of new stuff that somebody must have given to them and donated. They were little kid shirts. I bought them. I had them all printed up, and those I give away.
That's tremendous.
I give them because that's where it starts with our youth. That's how I feel.
Well, just so the listeners know, we're chatting here. Len Bernardo and I are sitting here visiting this morning with Nadine Fesco-Ferraro from Upstate Original. And to me, I'm learning so much this morning. It's not merely just a clothing line. It's a movement.
It is. It's funny because there's so many memes going on right now. Like you read about don't come to Upstate. There's bees and wasps and all the stuff. Stay away. But in the meantime, we have to embrace. Listen, I'm a transplant, right? I came after 9/11, and I became one of those people. As ironic as it sounds, but it's true. You have to have that faith in it.
You do, and in a large sense, we talked about earlier. My mother and father both were. They moved it up here, and with the idea of what they could contribute to the area so much, and what they could bring and what they can enjoy here, and that's the way they came. And again, I guess so. Nadine, if you were sitting in the room with us, we could say we have 3 Upstate Originals. Well, you have them all in the air here together.
Listen, I don't care if you're here for 3 weeks. I feel like if you are, a good person and you get it, and it infuriates me sometimes to hear, we have a lot of new people coming to the area. they are investing in our community. They are opening up. They're taking their life savings. They're opening up these little shops. They're doing whatever. But whether you agree or not, with their way of thinking, this is what they've chosen to do. This is where they have come to live, and I have no problem telling them who we really are.
No, that's great. Listen, we built a roller rink. I mean, talk about crazy, right? That was 23 years ago. But you do it, and you do assimilate, and that's right. You're 1,000. This is a great idea. This should be fun.
I just want people to know that we have a history. And I'm always trying to be respectful. We have a history here in our city of Kingston, and I'm not talking about the burning of Kingston. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. We have our own history. We have places that, events that we used to do in our schools, from, homecoming to bonfires to, things that don't happen anymore, simple as, cake parties in the woods. I know that's big. Those are moments and memories and, things that, we want people to remember. The lady next door to us used to, get home. You're not supposed to be doing that. It's out. You're out.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Today, somebody might sue that person for yelling at their kids. I don't know. You have to know that we started as this small town. Everybody embraced everybody, whether you agreed or not. At the end of the day, we were respectful to each other.
Absolutely.
And I just really want our community to come back to what it is. I see a lot of it happening, and I see a lot of people trying, and they're working towards it. And I just want to be an advocate for their mission. I want to advocate for all that they're doing to bring it to that point.
It's really funny. I was talking to Brian about what happened up in Sullivan at White Lake. We had this Winterfest, and this year, it's in Bethel, which where Woodstock was. But it's interesting because I was telling Brian, there were like 2,000 people there. And this guy, Rob Dougherty, who's the chairman of the legislature there, he said to me, Lynn, this is crazy. He says, usually we get, 400 or 500 folks coming through. Right. This was insane. So you were right, spot on with this idea, because people want to get together. People want to be known. People want to understand what the culture is in certain areas. No, this is a good idea.
I think that they're doing, if they don't want to do that and they just want to come in, and I'm not saying everybody's the same. Everybody is totally different. However, when you come to a new area and this is just my opinion, and you can agree with me or not agree with me, but when you go to somebody else's community or their neighborhood and you want to be involved, there's a level of respect. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't want to learn their history or who they really are.
Well, that's right. You hit her. That's exactly right.
And I just feel like I'm not going to let anybody, forget who we are and where we come from.
You stand that ground.
Hey, I am. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, right now you kind of limp that ground, but that's a different problem.
I might be moving a little slower, but it isn't going to stop.
There you go.
Get there.
You'll be fine.
You're a bullion personality. You'll sure get there. Hey, Nadine, it's funny now. Sometimes it'll come up in a conversation about Caldor, and there's like two different reactions you get to it. You get to be, oh, I love that store. I wish we still had it. And other people go, what was that? What was that?
My reaction was Caldor.
Caldor. It was like, and let me tell you, those memories. For me, I love people. I'm all about people.
Always have.
I have my same friends. In fact, when I had my knee surgery, they were here before it, and they've come. I can tell you, they haven't missed a week, visiting me or calling or coming to see me and sit with me from when we're 4 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're, I'm 57. We have been friends forever. You forge these relationships. You create these bonds, and they don't go away. Brian, I talked to, Kathy Dingman, Debbie D.
Oh, sure.
You, Donna Parisi, Dana Discordia. All my friends, I made them, those friendships at 16 years old, and I still have them today.
No, indeed.
To see Dana. I sponsored his show, his podcast. So, this is important to me, and I think if, at the end of your life, that saying they say, it doesn't matter. What really matters is, say they have 1965 to 2040. It's what happens in the middle of those years, in between the dash. And if you're not a good person, you're not going to really be happy at the end of life. So be a good person today.
No, but those friendships you mentioned, you couldn't be more right, and just the happy times we had at Caldor was a great store. It really was. By the way, I don't know if you saw it.
It was amazing.
Carl Bennett, the founder of he just passed away. Carl Bennett, the founder of Caldor, just passed away not too long ago. And it actually got a nice write-up in the New York Times, and brought back the memory of. I'm getting off topic a little bit, but Caldor, the name of the store came from his wife's name was Dorothy. It was Carl and Dorothy Bennett, and they merged their two first names into the name of Caldor. Because I guess
that's right. I remember that because in our training, I think they told us that. And I became friends. I became friends with a girl, Tammy Farmbach, and started talking. Her dad was Richard Starkey, Dick Starkey, who was our head of our security.
Yep.
So I still chat about him today. He's still alive. We still talk. I mean, we still, that's 40 years ago, 45 years ago.
Those are great.
It is crazy.
Great times. Memory lane.
That's history.
Yep.
That's history, and that's what I mean by our history.
So do you have an on a website type of application as well?
So I have Jamie Anson, who's a board member at People's Place, is working on a website now. We are still not. I still don't want to sell my products online because I feel like all people will do is buy them. They look nice. They read the message, but they're not going to have that conversation. I have a lot of local stores that are interested in putting our products in their stores. I'm working on that now, and I'll be doing that this spring. But we're going to continue to do pop-ups. You can look at my social media. I give my phone number to everybody, 845-594-1836. You can talk to me. We can make arrangements if I'm not doing a pop-up that you can come and hang out at. You can stop by my house and check out some of the stuff here. I mean, we really try to make everyone feel comfortable in this day and age and give you an opportunity to have a conversation about the message, so hopefully you tell it to other people and buy some of our stuff. So you're going to be able to get our stuff at pop-ups and in other people's store, but not online right away.
Okay, great.
But it's just, again, a personal way of communicating a message and having that tangible reminder.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're wearing your cool-looking hat or doggy scarf.
Right.
Well, I have shirts for you guys. Brian, you'll stop by. We'll hook up maybe this weekend. We'll meet somewhere.
Okay.
I have the Irish Kingston shirt for you. I'll give you one to give to Lynn.
Thank you.
I just you can walk around town now and you can see those. You can see my stuff everywhere. People are wearing it. I'm so excited, and now people are wearing it and they're taking it on vacation and they're taking pictures. So Upstate Original has been in Ireland, Iceland, Rome, Europe, California, Texas, and I post them all to our social media page on Facebook, Upstate Original on Facebook. You can see all those pictures and where we've been.
Well, I will promise you, Terry and I go to a lot of shows now, concerts in Bethel. We'll definitely wear it there.
There you go.
There you go. I have Johnny DeForest from RSS called me yesterday. He's getting shirts to wear to a hockey game.
There you go.
Right front row. So I'm super excited about it, and people are embracing it, and that means more to me than anything.
And I've definitely seen them around town. I think someone came in the other day at City Hall and paid a parking ticket, was wearing a hat.
Are you sure that wasn't Big Jim?
I've got as far as I'm prepared to go with that.
All right, there you go.
Will protect the identity of the people who pled guilty and paid the ticket.
By the way, that's how I met you first time, paying a ticket.
Probably.
I was.
I hope I was nice.
You were very nice.
Okay. But I took the money.
Yeah, of course. Hey, listen, I did the crime.
Nadine, it's so great to visit with you again. And when you're healed, I think when I messaged you last night, definitely want to have you in the studio once everything is healed and you're mobile again. And look for, because I really was, not only I was being a little selfish, I was looking forward to catching up and having a visit here at you in person. So
we can do that. We can do that that my door is always open while I'm healing. I'm hoping to be back, out in action and work in a couple of weeks. And, I'm moving slowly. I'm getting out when I can, but I really hope to see you this weekend. And I would love to come back on the show and get into the studio.
We'll definitely make a point of setting that up. And again, you and I have something in common. We each have children that work in law enforcement. My son's a sheriff's deputy here in Ulster County, and your daughter, she's in law enforcement. Where is she deployed or stationed?
So my daughter is a U.S. Capitol Police officer. She is in the Dignitary Protection Division, and she protects the members of the Congress, the House, and the Senate.
Wow,
that's tremendous.
Thank you very much.
Yep, it's just amazing from how that.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
How it all comes to pass, though, isn't it? Though, thinking back when we were kids at Caldors and some of the goofing around we used to do, to think we'd have kids that are so responsible.
In my best life would I have ever thought I would have had a kid in law enforcement.
Never.
But you know what? It's so funny because when she comes home, I'm to the point where I go, everybody stinks right now. Kind of my thing. She goes, Ma, things are always going to get better. She has this upbeat personality. I think she is in the greatest job that she could be in because she is such a light for all parties.
Well, God bless her.
People, and she really sees, we all should see, you can't just constantly be on the attack, And when she comes home, I love to talk with her because as far as, I hate politics, but it's when she comes home, it grounds me because she really says, if you look at it this way, or you look at it this way, that's what everybody should be doing, regardless if it's politics, religion, work, job, race, whatever it is. You got to have a conversation.
Let's bring everybody together. Nadine, as you know, Nadine she hosts the show on another station, and as you probably know this almost better than anybody, but no time goes as fast as radio time, Nadine. I just want to thank.
No, you're not kidding.
I just want to thank you so much for coming in or calling in, and we look forward to seeing you again, Nadine Fesco-Ferraro from Upstate Original. Do yourself a favor today and look them up on Facebook and really see what it's all about. Nadine, thank you so much for calling. Take care, dear, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
And great job, great idea.
Great, thank you for the opportunity. Great guys, have a great weekend, and have a happy St. Pat's Day next week.
All right,
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Say hi to Big Jim.
Feel better.
You got it. I will. Peace out.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go.
That was fun.
Energy.
What a great idea, huh?
Yeah, that's tremendous. And Nadine has the energy and so you can't help but being in a good mood once you've had time to spend with Nadine.
And that really rings through, man. Yeah. It's good thing.
I told you, within 10 seconds she'd be laughing. She's wonderful. Just a great friend. I've known her a long time, and just a great Upstate Original. And so, Len, I want to thank you for coming in. Great. And look forward to our times that we'll have together here, and we'll make some entertaining radio, I think, for the folks. And,
I hope so.
Looking forward to it.
I do.
And Lawrence, again, thank you, everybody. If I could just throw this in real quick.
Another poem?
No.
Okay.
You might like this, though. Kingston Community Radio, P.O. Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. 02, that's very important with the P.O. Box in Kingston. But, consider making a donation to Kingston Community Radio so we can continue to bring this information.
Actually, thank you for bringing that up, Brian. You're right. We just got I probably shouldn't say her name, but we just got a very generous donation from a listener / her husband helps out a great deal with the Happy Christmas Fund, and I'm glad you brought that up, Brian. And I want to thank her. We sent her a thank you note, but I'm thanking her personally on the air.
There you go. But
I'm not going to mention her name because it was such a generous donation. Actually, we'll mention her name. It was Bob Circusano's wife, Michelle Circusano.
Oh, wonderful.
It was. I almost pooped myself when I saw the amount it was for. But thank you, Michelle, for that donation and
Lawrence,
everyone else's donation too.
Yeah, Lawrence, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before you guys go, I just want to chat with you real quick. We'll be back tomorrow with Dan and Fran. They also got a whole list of guests. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You got it.